Hi guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Arsenal Way podcast with me, Samrid, and of course Ashwin. We have a very special guest joining us this time. We have Prasad, who is the host of the Panenka View. His channel is on YouTube. His please give him a follow. Give us a follow as well. Prasad has been doing this for a while, so actually happen to have come across Prasad via common friends, and he's just very gladly taken time out from his schedule to come and speak with us. So Prasad, thank you. And of course, guys, congrats on the 14th FA Cup title. Um, absolute wonderful end to the season. That's I think if I would say I would rather have poked forks in my eye, that would have been more enjoyable than having to sit through this entire season. But I'm so glad that if for nothing else, I'm just so glad that I'm really happy for Arteta. Won first major trophy in 6 months, and of course, we're into Europe once again at the expense of Spurs, who have three qualifying rounds to go through against teams that sound like Wi-Fi passwords. So yeah, your views, Prasad. Let's just get started with you. How are you feeling? Are you looking forward to next season? I mean, I know I am now, but your thoughts on the game and how you're feeling.
Firstly, thank you, Samrit, for that introduction. Thank you, Ashwin and Samrit, for having me on the Arsenal Away podcast. It's good to not be a host for a while and express your views and just review the club that you've been loving for over a decade. And I cannot tell you how happy I am, like the two of you are, and we're still buzzing. It's just Monday night. It feels like it just happened yesterday. I did and a trophy to finish probably the worst season that we've seen as fans gave a different kind of a relief and a different trip that night and very happy. I think I spent half of the Sunday recovering from the hangover and half of the Sunday celebrating that. And you always have those nervy moments before the game where you feel going to happen and how are we going to do it. And you're suddenly looking at all those videos from the past where you've won and where you've lost, and with all those views happening on Twitter. But the game was and as we started and we conceded in the first 5 minutes. I had some internet problems, and I'll be very sure I missed the first 10 minutes. So I probably missed the Chelsea dominant part in the whole match, and after that I continued watching, and then it was just Arsenal drifting away with the game in that first half. Probably could have added another goal. Pepe with a screamer. I wish that had counted. And we went into the halftime as the favorite side. I mean, the side that's on top. And while we came out again, I think it was just Chelsea with the ball again. But then Arsenal again grew into the game. And yeah, I know there have been a lot of dubious calls, or let's say there have been a lot of talking points about the match. But I think similar kind stuff happened to us back at the Emirates against Chelsea when Jorginho escaped second yellow card. So I think it was karma, and we had it on the right night. And so delighted to have Arteta win that first trophy, man. So delighted. I mean, that's going to do lots of wonders to the squad. The togetherness can be seen, and like you said, to wrap this up, so glad to and excited for the next season. Can't wait. So you go from not wanting the next season to come early to now wanting the transfer window to get over early and starting the next season. So yeah.
I mean, you bring up a brilliant point over there, saying that Arteta, at such a young age, has picked up a trophy, and not only does it do him a world of good, it also shows the players what he can do in the future, and the players will start buying into his philosophy, and already if they're not into, so they start trusting him more, right? Not only that, the board starts to trust Arteta. They feel like, okay, fine, if he can deliver a trophy after the worst season we probably had in 30 years, to go on and beat the likes of Sheffield, Man City, and then Chelsea in the final after going a goal down, it was a phenomenal job. I don't want to take anything away from Frank Lampard. He's done a fantastic job with a young team, getting them into top four. But I was having this discussion with a couple of friends, and I was watching it on TV as well, where people were talking about what would you rather have? Would you have top four and no trophy, or would you finish 8th and finish with a trophy? Because at the end of the day, all people remember are trophies, right? And Arteta's won a big trophy. It's not like it's one of those again that every time that Arsenal win an FA Cup, the FA Cup becomes inconsequential. But as soon as somebody else wins the FA Cup, it becomes a big trophy. So it's great that Arteta could get that off his back, and I'm just so excited for him. But it just shows that, you know what, you believe in him, you trust in him, you put some faith in him, and he can move along. So just want to talk about, what would you prefer? Would you prefer Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finishing 3rd, Chelsea finishing 4th, not winning a trophy, Spurs, Mourinho finishing 6th, not winning a trophy, or would you rather prefer finishing 8th and win a trophy? What would you prefer? This question is up to both you guys. You guys can both go for it.
Yeah, Samrit, let's have your thoughts first.
Look, I think having pretty much watched this club over the last 20 something years, during the Arsene Wenger reign, it was 4th place used to be considered a trophy, and we used to get lambasted for it. Now you have managers who are finishing top 4, saying the same thing, and nothing's being said about it. But this, to your point on Ashwin, on whether I would rather have finished Champions League spots and no trophy, or 8th where we finished and with a trophy. I would always go with the trophy, because you're right. For Arteta would have, obviously, I mean, outside of the financial benefits of playing the Champions League, there's nothing else there. And while of course I do understand that finances are a hugely important piece of the puzzle for a young manager like Arteta, I think this trophy will go a long way in as again, the point you very rightly made, in giving the players the confidence in a young manager like Arteta, and having players around Europe or even across the world stand up and say, okay, maybe he's doing something there that I want to be a part of. So I think the implications of this win will go far beyond just the monetary gains that we'll make from the Europa League or anything else. I think the confidence of the team, the trust in Arteta from both the board as well as the players, I think that, like Arsene Wenger used to talk a lot about the intangibles, and this is what this is going to produce, a huge amount of intangibles that cannot be quantified, in terms of confidence, in terms of ability, in terms of trust, in terms of planning for the future, in terms of building for the future. Now I just hope the board is smart enough to back him with what he wants. So yeah, I think trophy all day for Arteta, for especially someone as young as Arteta in his career.
Well, Ashwin, to come in here, I mean, firstly, to back your point, like you said, when Arsenal win a trophy or Arsenal win anything, I think they're lambasted for that. I mean, it becomes a Mickey Mouse trophy when that's been termed sort of, when we were not winning anything for 9 years and we were ridiculed for being in the top 4 consistently. And, um, when we won the trophy, then the narrative comes, when are you winning the league? When we win the league in future, it will be, when are you going to win the Champions League? Yeah, so agreeing to both Samrid and Ashwin, I think a trophy matters a lot, because at the end of the day, they see how much you have won, and a trophy goes on a long way to boosting, everyone at the club, be it the players who won that medal, to boast about and to look back on their successful career. And for a club like Arsenal, Ashwin, I think being at the helm, being at the top is the utmost priority. Now I know that we've had our debts and we've had our top 4 consistent finishes, and the amount of money that is required is important. But I think the last couple of seasons have shown us that even without Europe, or even in being in the Europa, we can attract top players. We are a global brand. We are we still have the pull. Arsenal still is going to have the pull to get in players. To also add a different flavor to this, there's a long way for Arteta to go. This trophy is just the first step in the right direction. And since he took over at Bournemouth, you could see how vocal he was, how he wanted the players to perform, and he knows he has a game plan. What I like about Arteta I've been using this term everywhere, that he has a game plan within a game plan, and he knows that proactive changes. I mean, if you could go down, previously modern football has evolved so much. Previously, you could throw in a formation and stick to it, and then your plan B would be to bring in a player and change the game. But now it's completely different. You have to be adaptable in that moment, and you have to switch gears, and that's what we did in the final. So to sum up, Ashwin, a trophy any day. As a guy who suffered, you guys, Samrit says 2 decades plus. I know how much you've suffered, Samrit. You've gone from that phase, invincibility, to I don't know what to say, but a trophy any day. A trophy any day. Yeah.
I mean, you both are spot on. I just have to talk about when you talk about a game plan within a game plan. You could see that clearly. I think there was a 10-minute spell when Chelsea dominated the game, where they really crowded our midfield and really pressed our midfield. Our midfield looked a little sloppy. I think Chaka and both Ceballos were a little nervous, and that got the backline a little nervous. You could see there was a little tension there. But he changed that immediately. He saw that we were not being able to play through the line, so he introduced that long ball that we started playing to Aubameyang. He saw that Aubameyang, I mean, they figured out the weakness which was either Kurt Zuma or their right centre back over there that was not going to be able to keep up with Aubameyang. So they started playing that long ball, and everyone could see it at the stadium. I mean, even Frank could see that we were playing that long ball and Chelsea needed to do something, but they were just not able to cope with Aubameyang. There were talks in January where it came down to like I remember the Mirror and I think it was the Daily Mail running stories about how Aubameyang wants to leave and things like that, and everybody was talking about him leaving. And I said, see, if Aubameyang leaves, we're going to be relegated, because at that time we were about 14th in the league, and nothing was looking good for us. He's literally scored and won us the FA Cup. Scored 2 goals in the semi-finals, took us to the finals. Scored 2 goals there, won us the final. So he's literally beaten 2 teams. But there's nothing to take away from the players. So I'm going to go into the player ratings with you guys. So one at a time. Let's start with Prasad. How did you think the keeper did? Emi Martinez.
Firstly, big ups to the guy, 10 years at the club and 6 loan moves, leaving his home at the age of 17, sorry, and waiting all these years. And these are players who don't throw tantrums. And if you remember a certain DNA guy who left the club just to join his boyhood club,
He's Samrit's favorite player.
critical and vocal about that. So some sort of a snake who doesn't know which London club to choose now. I'd give Emmy a 9 on 10. A 9 on 10 because of the final, because of a few things. I don't want to give a perfect 10 for anybody. Basically, it's going to just be 9. There's just one player only who's going to get 10, and that's going to be our striker, because a cup game, 90 minutes, 2 crucial moments, 2 opportunities taken. So let's start off from the back. Ashwin, Martinez gets a 9. Tierney gets.
Let me just go to Samrit for that. Sorry, let's just go one at a time. Yeah. Samrit, how do you think Emmy did?
No, I think Emmy had a fantastic game, right from the save from the Mason Mount shot that was curling in, to being aware about rushing for the ball to the 92nd, 93rd minute when he rushed out for Pedro that led to the injury. I think Emmy's had a fantastic game. Emmy's been great for us since Leno has been injured. So I'm not surprised that he was due for another good game. I would just slightly differ on with Prasad in terms of ratings. I think the way that the squad has come together and been up for it against the likes of the City, against the likes of Liverpool, against a good Sheffield side that we beat away, and of course Chelsea in the finals. I'm just going to save you the time. I'm just going to give everybody a 10 because I can't see anyone who. Of course, Auba was exceptional, as he always is, and he's saved our skins, as you rightly said. I don't think outside of the initial 10 minutes that we were actually troubled. So I would just give everybody a 10. I can't see. I mean, I would really be nitpicking if I'm like deducting points on people for minor mistakes, because I would just put that down to nerves of the final. And I think after the first 10 minutes, we didn't really show any nerves, because we came back, heads in drop after conceding after 5 minutes. So I would just give everybody a 10.
So big question is next season, does Emmy keep his place or does Leno come back?
Oh, Leno has to do a lot of work to come back. I'm sorry, but Emmy does not deserve to be dropped. There's no reason for him to be dropped. He hasn't
To be
conceded.
honest,
He hasn't.
before Leno got injured, Leno was probably our player of the season with Aubameyang. Let's not forget
Look,
that.
I don't know if look in it's like you cover a pile of shit with gold. That's what the season was like. And generally you can't really pick until you. I mean, it would. It's a curtailed season, so I don't know if how much of an impact those ratings of I mean these things like player of the year this season especially and all I think are quite irrelevant. But I know to your original question on Leno or Martinez, I think number one spot is up for grabs. Martinez has shown enough and more to take that spot away from Leno, and Leno has to come back. Because let's not forget, Leno has in the last year and a half made a few mistakes. Emmy, maybe as he also spends more time, plays more games, will make those mistakes. So far, he hasn't put a foot wrong in a big pressure game as well. His first final after, as Prasad said, 10 years at the club, 6 loan moves, hasn't done anything wrong, hasn't said a word, just put his head down, done the right things, and just become a good keeper,
Hmm.
a great keeper rather for us. Yeah, I would say I think Leno is the one who needs to be worried
Great, Prasad.
more than any.
So Samrit has.
So, so Ashwin, just adding from where Samrit said, yeah, Martin, it feels good to have be spoiled for choices. I mean, two keepers, you can't drop either because, like Ashwin said, Leno was in contention for player of the season with Aubameyang. His shot stopping is insane, but yeah, he's made a few mistakes. But now on the current basis, Emi Martin has shown that he cannot be dropped. So it's good to have the keeping department sorted. I mean, a guy who spent his life at the club, the other guy who's come in and made such an impact, and yeah, I remember the likes of Almunia, and I remember the likes of digressing Petach, and at sometimes Chess,
Sad.
but then later on wasn't, and a lot of them, and used to be 1-0 up in the 80th minute or 81st minute used to there'll be a ball over the top, and there'll be butterfingers behind, and the ball would end up in the back of the net, and we'd go from 3 points to one. It for a change feels really good to have two good keepers, very good keepers.
So
Yeah.
quickly then, does he start next season for you or does Leno come in for you?
Martinez continues in goal for me, and Leno slowly makes his way back. And we have a lot of games, Ashwin. I mean, we have since we are in Europe as well, we have a lot of games there as well. So I think we can use both of them. Like Arteta has a good decision to make.
All right. So Samrit's gone for 10s across the board. Maybe we might get him to change his mind. But let's go back to you, Prasad. Hector Bellerin, how do you think he did it against Chelsea?
Um, pretty decent. I still feel that the right hand side is somewhere that we've got to look coming forward next season. I'm going to go with an 8 for Hector Bellerin. I know that our left side is being talked about so much, and our right is completely it's a lopsided affair at the moment. But yeah, I think the fact that Hector Bellerin against Chelsea is a different player and has always been on the score sheet, and he loves the London side. I'm still going to go with an 8 for Hector.
Made the second goal, didn't he? Like that
Yeah.
run he made. We missed Hector doing that.
Yeah.
It was
I was
actually
waiting for you to. I was
Pepe-
waiting for you to add an. Correct.
Pepe will get
Yeah.
the credit for the assist, but it was actually Hector that actually drove through the midfield and passed them and made that goal actually.
Yeah.
Somebody you agree?
correct.
So, I mean, you've given him a 10, but do you agree that Hector could have improved?
No, look, I think Hector there's been an uptick in his form right throughout since the initial few games. There, I think after the Cedric, when he was dropped and Cedric came in, I think there's been a definite uptick in form. I'm not going to get into specifics of whether he could have done better, not done better. I mean, it's a final. Even Messi has off games. So I'm not to say that that is the level that we expect from our players. I think again, I'm not going to sit in fault whether there was one cross that went over, or that he overshot a cross, or misplayed a pass. I think credit for him for making that run through the midfield. He went on the challenge that came in from Alonso was a hefty one. I mean, the number of times I've seen it back and thought that how Hector got away with it with his injury record, and this came out fine. Um,
I don't think it was. I don't think
yeah,
it was Alonso. I think it was Christensen that
Christensen,
challenged.
Alonso, I forget one of the two.
I think
Yeah, I
one of
mean
them.
the I would still say that Hector made that goal because he drew the Chelsea defender,
Yeah.
put him like in that spot whether he should going for the ball or not, and just ran past him. But yeah, great performance by Hector as well.
All right. Question for you then. Say we get 40 million or 50 million for Hector in the summer. Do you sell or not? Keep him.
Uh, I would keep Hector. I think I'll give him another season. I think
Yeah.
he's had a tough year. He's also been coming back from injury. I would keep him another season.
Okay.
And then I would maybe reevaluate if at all. And we're not getting 50 million for Hector. It's only if he has a fabulous season coming up next, when he has like either like a Robertson sort of a season, or a Trent Alexander-Arnold sort of a season where he's banging in 12, 15 assists. Is only then when he gets 40, 50 million. Otherwise, he's not going to get 40, 50 million.
Fair enough. Move to Prasad. How do you think Rob Holding did?
Well, the Watford game had me in a bit of a trauma, but we were four at the back then, and there was a lot of talk about if this Holding turns up on Saturday night, Saturday afternoon. We're going to have a big night against Giroud, likes of Giroud and Pulisic. Ashwin, I'm going to um, have this player rating thing. I'm going to go with Samrit. Like Samrit gave a 10 for everyone, I'm going to give a 10 to Oba because I know it's a lengthy process. We would discuss this probably sometime else. But yeah, Rob Holding was better than the Watford game, I would say. And it's always good to have a player who knows who against whom he's playing again. Loves to play for the club, especially, and suits well in the back three as well, alongside David Luiz and a guy like Kieran Tierney who likes to make those runs down the left. And I think Olivier Giroud had a tough time against Rob Holding. If you remember the first half scream where he went down, and so pretty much, Ashwin, everyone turned up that day. That's the best part, isn't it, about this FA Cup, that uh, no matter how much we've been ridiculed over and over, we've always turned up for those 90 minutes. And even though we've gone down or we've felt that pressure, we've responded in a flash. And that is something I have loved about the FA Cup this season. We've shown, especially when it mattered the most in the semi-final and in the final,
Mhm.
that you go down or you have that pressure, and oh, what happens now? Are we conceding two or three, or are we going to go on the back foot? Are we going to sit deep? No, but we just absorb the pressure, and then we just go into a different mode and dominate the game. And not just dominate the game, we score as well. So yeah, like you told, a 10 for Aubameyang. Let's change a 10 to ME as well. Nines for Granit Xhaka and Hector Bellerin, and going forward, Kieran Tierney, boss man. The left-hand side deserves a special mention. The man's completely, taken away that fear now. How are we going to create that? Left hand side looks so proactive. I think Kieran Tierney should start his own classes or something, a tutorial kind of, and teach our defenders to cross, especially beyond the first man. And Ashwin, to Dani Ceballos also had a fantastic game. I mean, the guy he was all over the heat map. If you see the heat map that's come in, a player who's all over the place. So an 8 to him as well, a 9 to Xhaka, especially because he does all the hard work, and when he dominates, the Arsenal midfield dominates. I still feel that we need a hybrid 8-10 guy in the midfield to bridge that gap that we have at the moment. But cut short an 8, 9, 10 to everybody, and nobody goes below that. Ashwin, nobody goes below that. I mean, everyone turned up, and a big 11 to Arteta because taking that yellow card and being there on the touchline, to not troll anyone, Ashwin, but the man can speak German, French, Spanish, English all together in a 5 minutes. Like in
Reminds
five
you of
minutes,
a
he can.
certain somebody, doesn't he?
So yeah, so great. I mean, 8, 9, 10s to everyone.
Okay, so the thing is, the two of you have basically, the game's been such a fantastic victory. So I think the two of you have just high marks for everybody. So I'm just going to move from there. You spoke about Arteta. I'll come to you, Samrit. We've criticized him over the past few games for his changes, for his team selection. He stuck with Maitland-Niles at left wing back. Didn't play Saka. After Saka's signed his new contract, he hasn't really featured in the team as much. That was the one surprise that happened. But the two games that Ainsley's played, he's done phenomenally well. How will you rate Arteta, and how do you think that? Okay, let's just go with how did you rate Arteta
For the final or just over the
for the
last?
final?
For the final, look, the lineup that he came out with was pretty much what I thought he would come out with. I didn't think Saka would start just because um, it's sometimes you want to give youngsters the confidence, and I guess he just wants to protect him at this point because he did the same in the City game as it was a big game. Because we pretty much, I think Arteta had a sense that we would not make it through via the league, and it was the FA Cup that was our way through. Um, I think the need to protect Saka, I think, was more important then because if he does something fabulous like he did, scored that wonderful goal against Wolves on the volley, great. But the chances of a young player repeating performances day in day out is tough. I think he went in with experience. He went in on Maitland-Niles, who's just been fabulous as a fullback, either as a right or as a left fullback, or even just playing as a wing back. So the team that he came out with was what I was expecting. I didn't think there was going to be anything seriously different. If Mustafi would have, maybe only difference was Mustafi being fit, he would have maybe come in place of Holding. And I've said this repeatedly in the past as well, that if Mustafi is the most improved defender out of a backline that consists of Luiz and Socrates and Holding, then you know that that Arteta is doing something right to have coached some level of Mustafiness out of Mustafi. The rash challenges have sort of disappeared. It's just him always standing, which, I mean, he does have his moments, but um, I don't think there was anything wrong with the lineup. I don't think there was anything wrong with how he set up. He tactically outplayed Lampard. You guys spoke about the left-hand side, the number of times Maitland-Niles in the first minute or so he crossed the ball to Auba to who headed wide. The goal was all Tierney, assist for Tierney. The run that Auba made coming in from the outside and coming into the inside of Aspi, to then have the game awareness to go down under the challenge in the box and not earlier. And I think, as Prasad has and both of you have said, the left hand side is sorted. Not to mention the right side isn't, because
Pepe had a good game.
Pepe had a very good game. Pepe had one of his, I think he probably had his best game. He scored a belter that got chalked off, unfortunately, for offside. Pepe had a very good game, but there was he and Maitland-Niles just seemed to work as well. So I don't think there's anything wrong. I think I'm not sure if this quarterly team talk substitution drinks break is going to continue moving forward. Is it, or was it just for now? But we seem to be doing fabulously well after whenever we have these drink breaks. We come out as a different, more energized side. But no, I don't think Arteta did anything wrong in that game. And I think the best part is that like I said right at the start, our heads don't drop when we went down, went to goal down, which was different under both Emery and, dare I say, even Arsene Wenger. When we concede early, you just knew that that's it, the game's done, because the players seemed deflated. The energy was just sort of zapped out in the team. It just gets sucked out. So I would say, yeah, I would go with Prasad an 11 to Arteta. I mean, 11 on 10, but yeah, 11 on Arteta for picking up a trophy and just, if nothing else, bringing together a really disjoint group of players who were low in confidence to have won a trophy in 6 months' time.
All right, that quickly then, because in the interest of time, um, if Oba doesn't extend, do we keep him for a year or do we sell him? To you, Prasad.
Good question, Ashwin. I've had this conversation in the past as well, so it's good that I'm being able to place my opinion here. And so there are two things. One, if Oba extends, how many years, is he going to be at his peak? Is he going to give us 20 plus goals for that price? One. Other, if he doesn't, and if we are bound to sell him, who are we going to get for that money? Probably a guy with his contract time and his age is going to give us max 20 30 million if we negotiate further then, but I don't see him going over 20 to 30 or 30. So
I
the
think
guy
we
that
could fairly get 50 million for him, even the 1 year remaining, the form that he's in.
yeah, but beg to
Doubt
differ.
it. I really doubt it if that's the amount of money he'll
Back
charge.
to differ there. If there are a lot of ifs, but I'm saying if we sell him for that amount, 30, 20 to 30, who do we bring in, and who does the guy that come in guarantee us those goals?
So you'd keep
So
him and let him go on a free?
I'd probably first think about extending his contract and giving him the money, because currently without his goals we are nowhere, and that's, I can admit that openly here. Even though we have the likes of Laka, we have the likes of Saka, Pepe, but I think Aubameyang is the leader in the room that clearly needs to be there. He adds a totally different dimension to our game. He totally adds a different atmosphere to our dressing room. He brings in the togetherness. He leads from the front. Cheery figure everywhere that you gets the is there for the youngsters as well, and they feel like, okay, yeah, we are into the squad. So those were my two versions. Yeah.
All right, quickly, Sam. If Oba doesn't extend, do we keep him for the year and sell him for free or sell him now?
Yeah, no, I agree with Prasad. The point is that and we've spoken about this. If we were to sell him, I think the money that could have gone towards investing different parts of the squad that actually need replacement, the spine of the squad, finding creative midfielder, finding more goals from midfield, finding a center half. I think we would just blow our money there. So I would keep him and just try and convince him to stick around and sign. Because he still has a year on his contract. I would keep him because it would just be far more expensive for us to sign someone else. And he gives us the best possibility of qualifying for the Champions League next year.
All right. That's the podcast, guys. Prasad, thanks for being on the show. It was lovely to have you, and both Sam and me would love to have you on again. Like Sam mentioned at the start of the show, his podcast is linked below. It's called the Panenka View. So please give him a follow. He runs a beautiful channel. It's been a terrible season for us, but we've had something to smile at the end of the day. A trophy is a trophy. Like we discussed at the start of the show, you rather finish low in the league and then win a trophy, because that's what counts at the end of the day. So we won that, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we've been trashed this whole season, and so has been the. I'm not good. I mean, it comes from the top. The board appointing Emery to backing him to everything. It was just been a horrible season. I'm glad it's over. We have something to look forward to. The curtain raiser starts on the 29th of August. We play Liverpool, so it's hardly a month to go. It's just been one of those seasons, up and down season, but I'm just glad to end it on a high. And that's it, guys. Thanks for being here, and see you guys soon.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Prasad.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.